July meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. So first item on our agenda is to consider the approval of minutes for June 21st, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the agenda for June 2023, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. Next item on the agenda has been tabled. That's case number PD 2022-005, so I assume we'll hear about that in the future. Item number 3 is case number PD 2021-001, applicant Taylor Canute of Harbin Street LLC, pursuant to the requirements set forth by section 154.08 of the City of Stephenville zoning ordinance, is presenting an update and requesting an extension of the development schedule for the planned development located at 0 South Harbin, parcel R73763 of the South Side Edition, block 19, lot 15 of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas. Mr. Killen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You probably recall on May 19th of '21, the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed Mr. Canute's request to rezone the property to a planned development. On that night that he presented, we voted 5-1, or the commission voted 5-1 to recommend approval to the City Council. Following that, on June 1st, the City Council approved the rezone and passed ordinance 2021-019, and it is a planned development district. As you may recall, the ordinance requires that annually the developer of a planned development district is required to provide an update to the commission, and so that's why we're here tonight. This project has met some pretty significant delays. Part of those delays were related to the extension of a sewer line south from Swan Street, which required them to bore under the railroad, and they needed to obtain an easement from the railroad and permission to do the boring. That took a pretty significant amount of time. Mr. Canute actually received the approval on that easement just a few months ago. He was also going through some issues with his developer. One of his investors unfortunately had recently passed, so there have been multiple reasons behind the delay, but he has recently resumed work. He has indicated to me that everything is a go at this point, and that there are no anticipated further delays as he tries to get this project moving again. As of about 3 o'clock this afternoon, Mr. Canute did forward to me his updated development schedule, which is included in your packet now. Basically, he is saying that he believes that he can complete the review or complete the project in the next 12 months, maybe as early as 9 months. And with that, Madam Chair, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Do you have any concerns, Steve?
We have been in pretty much continual communication. And I personally know for a fact that the issue with the railroad was very time consuming. And then unfortunately, about the time that was wrapping up is when this other tragic event occurred. And so I am a little concerned that it's not progressing as quickly as we'd like to see at the moment, but I have been reassured that it's going to the pace is going to pick up pretty quickly, and we're going to see some changes happening in the near future.
Okay.
Steve, Keewaydin has another development in town over by the American Legion.
Yes, sir.
Is this project going to interfere with that project, or is that project going to interfere with this project? Or do they have the ability to separate the two and progress on the two?
I believe Keewaydin has demonstrated over the past few years that he can handle multiple projects at one time. I'm sure that does require shifting of contractors back and forth, but from my my experience with him, he's normally, once he gets a project going, it moves fairly quick, so. But again, I think that I absolutely 100% can say that the railroad issue took longer than even we anticipated. And then just some unfortunate events in addition to that.
I have a question about, in his development schedule he sent you, says that there's a possible outsell of that 1.5 acres if he can't develop it himself. Was that commercial development part of what made it eligible for a planned development zoning?
At first, that was a consideration, but I believe we ended up leaving that acreage separate from the planned development. So tonight, we're only talking about I believe it's roughly 5.5 acres, which is strictly townhomes. But what he was asking for at the time, relating to concessions on the ordinance, he chose to go the PD route.
Understood.
Great question.
Thank you.
Okay, well, looks like Mr. Canute is not here, so I'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Anybody here wish to speak in favor of this, delay request? Extension request? Anybody wish to speak against? Closing the public hearing. Commissioners, we need a recommendation.
I move that we recommend to council a 6-month modified development schedule.
6 month?
That way they can kind of show some progress.
So come back to us in 6 months?
I'll second that.
Okay. Do we want to discuss?
I have a problem with that for 6 months.
Yeah.
Mr. Canute has, as Steve said, shown once he's backed into a corner, he can get something done. I believe, and this goes back to my experience dealing with Mr. Canute, I think his back's to the corner. And so I personally will feel more comfortable giving the 12 months on this. Then if he comes back in here, then hold his feet to the fire. Give him an opportunity to perform, and if he doesn't, then perhaps next year we approach it completely differently than we are right now. That's just my opinion.
The reason I was going for 6 months is just kind of help encourage him to get the ball rolling, and then that way it's not a stagnant project for another 6 or 8 months before he gets the ball rolling again at that 12 month.
It sounds like the stagnant part of it, though, was something that was completely unavoidable. If it took longer than expected to get that easement acquisition, then he's at a standstill until he gains that easement acquisition, and that was only recently that it was achieved, correct? The easement acquisition, so.
About how many months, do you know?
I'm sorry.
What kind of time frame was it then that they got the approval from the railroad?
I believe that approval came in April, but there were still other issues that he was having to deal with, he being Mr. Canute. And so we have seen some activity on the site. I think he's trying to get rolling again after the delays he experienced. Madam Chair, members of the commission, I would suggest, Mr. Canute's been here, he's got a good rapport with the city. I'm sure if we wanted him to come back in 6 months to give us an update on the project, he would do that. His schedule is showing 9 to 12 months, and the council approves the schedule. So I think if maybe as a suggestion, if the motion was made to accept the development schedule with an update in 6 months, perhaps that would accomplish everyone's purpose.
Would that need to be a formal amendment?
I believe so.
Do you want to amend?
Oh, I don't want phrase that. Somebody else might phrase it
So
better.
you had a motion, and a second.
We had a motion and a second. So do we need to
I'd like to amend the motion.
There you go.
amend the motion and then, okay, go for it
Vote on
now.
the amendment,
And
then you
then
vote on
then
it.
vote on
Yeah.
it.
Madam Chair, what I would move is that we approve the 12-month and request or have Mr. Canute come in at a 6-month period for an update.
Second.
Okay. So, we vote on the First Amendment, or for first motion,
The
or
amendment.
vote the second?
Vote on the amended
Amendment
motion.
and then the vote.
Okay. Does that make sense?
No,
It doesn't.
Brian, why don't you withdraw your original motion?
Am I able to?
Yeah.
Or we could vote it down.
We vote it down and then
Yeah.
revote, okay, so,
Okay.
all those in favor of the motion to recommend to council a 6-month extension, say aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
All right, so that motion fails.
Move to approve or recommend to council the approval of the development schedule as presented with a 6-month update to P and Z and possibly.
Second.
Good? All those in favor of recommending to council the schedule as presented with a 6-month update, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, so that goes forth to council. And I think we just need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All right, that took a little longer than I wanted, guys. We got to step up.